Okay, dear friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about Mercury retrograde, the upcoming Mercury retrograde. So we already have Venus retrograde happening right now as we speak. I already uploaded the video about that. Make sure you check it out. But you know, March being this incredible and interesting month that it is, will not only have the Venus retrograde but also Mercury retrograde. And in this video essentially we are going to talk about Mercury retrograde. I will also briefly dive into the 12 signs and see how it affects you. Of course, this is going to be very general, especially for 12 signs. Don't skip the intro because this is where the majority of analysis is going to be. And for personalized readings, currently they are available. This is where we can look into how this specifically manifests for you, any questions you have. So anyway, let's go. So Mercury retrograde official dates are from March 14 to April 7. Of course, it starts right around 9 degrees of Aries to 27 degrees of Pisces. Again, very interesting degrees because Venus retrograde also visits approximately those degrees as well. Especially this 27th degree of Pisces is very interesting because this is of course where Neptune's been retrograde for a long time, where Neptune turned direct, where we have the right around the degree we have all those Neptune North Node conjunctions, we have this Venus also North Node conjunctions. So it's a very important I would say Mercury retrograde to make sense of everything else that's going on. Now, of course, if you go into my Venus retrograde video, you will see a very cute thumbnail. I'm kind of proud, to be honest, of that thumbnail, not because it's only cute and beautiful, but also because of the chessboard that I put on that thumbnail and all the different planets that I also put. Kind of like the idea was, you know, pieces on the chessboards and all the planets that are lined up, right, you know, in the Pisces and in Aries. And yes, essentially Mercury is one of the major players on the chessboard with all the pieces on the chessboard. In Aries, its energy of course is very, very different than it is in Pisces. In Aries, it's very much about direct, straightforward energy. In Pisces, the lines become much more blurred. And the channeled message that I was getting, there was a lot of them actually, but the one I guess that will apply outside of world events and everything like this, the one that applies individually to us is this. Like, this was very literally the moment I opened the chart, the moment I started meditating on the energy, this is what was coming through. Okay, ready? Essentially, yes, that's what I got. Accept what is, whatever it is, accept what is, observe without judgment, but focus on what you want to create. So we can accept what is, whatever it is. There are things that could be triggering us. Of course, there's Chiron there in Aries as well. There's so much going on. We have the eclipse also as well, right? The last eclipse in Aries, solar eclipse without North Node, but still, no, like that's going to be finalizing a lot of things that's been happening from 2023, escalating maybe some of them. So what we want right now is to accept what is, whatever it is. Just simply observe without judgment, without any attachment, and focus purely and consciously on what we want to create. It's kind of like, to simplify this, I guess, is this. Let's just say I'm hungry right now, but I do know I want to eat, and I do know that like I'm going to finish maybe this video and I'm going to go prepare a meal. I can observe without judgment that this is temporary. I'm hungry for maybe another 30 minutes max, and then I'm going to eat. And I'm going to consciously choose to focus my energy on getting the task done, whatever it is I need to do right now. And then, you know, cooking a nice, I think I have sourdough. I'm going to make sourdough. So, and enjoy my meal later. So this is very simplified. I understand in life a lot of situations are maybe much more complex than they are, than this. But we don't have to make them complex as well. Maybe the point of this Mercury retrograde is to make sense of a lot of situations that seem complex, but, you know, in whatever way we need to practically make sense of them. So accept what is, observe without judgment, focus on what you want to create. There is no point on dwelling, like let's just say, like let's just imagine if I'm hungry right now and I'm just going to keep sitting here, oh my god, I'm hungry, I'm so hungry, I'm so triggered because I'm hungry, why am I hungry, oh my god. It doesn't make any sense. Instead, I can just accept what is, deal with it whichever way I need to, and then focus on essentially going to eat. Again, I'm using on point specific example because sometimes things are more simple than we realize. A lot more simple. Sometimes they are complex, but it doesn't mean that we have to deal with them necessarily in a way which is also so complex and make them even more complex than they already are. So that's not necessarily like the best way to go for obvious reasons. Simplifying things as much as we can When we are in the energy of Pisces, there's so much that becomes blurred and we don't know what's real, what's not. In Aries, it becomes about very simple things. If you have a lot of Aries friends, maybe, if you ever dated an Aries, you know that they are more straightforward than most people. Like they're impatient, yes, they are very direct sometimes, but they're also very straightforward. They are like, okay, I want this, you don't want this, that's what we'll do, and yes, maybe sometimes they will fight with you, but at the same time, it's kind of like very straightforward. We do have already at this point Mars direct, which is a good thing, because I think this Mercury retrograde might have been much more problematic if Mars was still retrograde, and Mars is still kind of slow at the time. It starts speeding up right around the time of this Mercury retrograde. But essentially, I think for a lot of us, this is also going to be the time of finding this balance, perhaps with the extreme of, okay, let's just get things done immediately, and also this other extreme of like getting confused and lost in imagination, maybe taking everybody's side before you even remember to take care of your own interests. In my Venus retrograde video, I think I called that video Every Man for Themselves, and of course with Aries, this is the energy that's very strongly activated. But with this both retrograde, of course, of Venus and Mercury in this case, it's like, yes, we have our own interests, but we also kind of understand that we do live, surrounded by other individuals, surrounded by very subtle energies. And how do we make the most of it, essentially? How do we make the best of it? Not getting lost too much into illusion, but also not becoming too harsh in a way where we are like, okay, that's what I need to get done, and I will get it done, whatever it takes, and like screw everybody around me kind of thing, right? Because Aries is the opposite of Libra, right? We don't necessarily always consider everybody when we are fully in that energy. We can sometimes be a little bit, okay, that's what I want. What you want, not my business. You deal with it. All right? There could be energies like this. Of course, with these energies, there could be themes of going back and forth, from war to peace could be the theme, I hope, for the collective. Even though I do want to say, like I'm going to be doing on my other channel, which is more politically inclined, a video, I don't have a good prediction for, I've been saying this already for a while. Europe looks messed up. If you're in Europe, please be safe. Because, I don't, United States think we should be okay, we are very blessed in a way if you're in the United States now. But Europe concerns me a lot. I said this in my 2025 predictions, and I am concerned that, yes, something with NATO could be happening. But again, I don't want to go too much into world predictions about that. I do have another video on my other channel about talking more about like geopolitics and stuff here. Let's keep it in our own life. Now, the big theme, of course, with Mercury retrograde that starts with Aries but going back into Pisces is saying it like it is. If you ever met a person with Mercury in Aries, you know that they are very straightforward. Like they are, okay, I want this, I don't want this. Again, let's go here. Don't want to go there. They are very, they could be very articulate at times, but I think it's more than just that. They are very straightforward. I don't know. I don't know why I'm searching for another word, because straightforward I think is the best way to describe this in a way. Maybe simple even. Sometimes keeping it simple as well is important to remember with this energy. Now, of course, when we have both Venus and Mercury retrograde that activates the same exact areas of our chart, right? Aries and Pisces, this is again going to be increased attention to that particular area of our life to sort things out once and for all. We all going to have that desire. Again, with Venus retrograde gives us more of that energy where we reevaluate something, where we see things in a different light, find different values. With Mercury, it's more like if Venus is planet of values, but also luxury, enjoyment, what you find beautiful and attractive. Mercury is more of a manager. It's more of a mental planet too. It's making sense of things. For people who, for example, have Mercury and Venus together in their chart, or whichever planet Mercury is conjunct in your individual chart, you will see that it's easier for you to understand things related to this planet. For example, in my chart, I have Mercury, Venus, Jupiter conjunction, and I really tend to understand very well things related to Venus. They make sense to me. Things even related to Jupiter. technically sun is not too far away from that, but it's a different that's a different story because they're not really fully conjunct. But yeah, in your own chart, if you look at your chart and if Mercury makes a conjunction to a certain planet, you will see that this is where you understand things. This is where you can manage things related to even that planet. You can manage things related to that area of your life relatively well, most of the time very well. It depends, of course, on condition of Mercury, other aspects, and many other things. So again, here Mercury is inspiring us to make sense of that area of our life. Again, maybe recently we went through a bit of a reevaluation, like we don't find something as valuable as we once did. We had a shift of values, had a shift of perspective, a new inspiration perhaps even, and now Mercury is essentially okay, you don't see the value working in that place anymore, or like you don't see the value the way of something you used to see differently. Okay, what are we going to do about it? It's kind of like, okay, you realize that you're no longer aligned to a certain career path, with certain lifestyle, with certain individual, could be certain religious or spiritual ideology. What do we do now? Like, do we shift? Do we move to a different place? Do we go to do a different job? Do we make new friends? How are we going to manage, essentially? So Mercury here wants to manage things, wants to make sense of things in the best possible way. And this is going to be the time of figuring this out. Again, Mercury retrograde starts at that 9th degree of Aries, but it goes back to the 27th degree, where all that Neptune North Node action was happening earlier, end of January and February, right? So we already have kind of a lot of things, a lot of pieces, a lot of cards. I would say like we've already been given certain set of cards, to play with, but now we are making sense of what's the best strategy to win whatever we need to win. Like what we have the cards, you have your jacks, aces, whatever, queens, kings, whatever, you have certain hand that you've been given already in the past few months, maybe longer than that. So how do we play it in the most winning way? Whatever cards we have right now, how do we play them well? That's what Mercury is going to try to figure out here. Again, comparison to a chessboard or comparison to even a card game, kind of interesting here. Now again, March 14 to April 7, this is where the retrograde occurs, but Mercury was already in shadow from February 28 and it's not going to leave the shadow till April 26. So this is a long journey. We are making sense of things. We are learning how to be better players, so to say, of whatever it is, that's happening in our life. Of course, do watch the Venus retrograde video too, because I talk there also a lot about different reevaluations, and there's so much more to say. But let's talk about how I will see if there's anything I want to add here when I'm editing. Right now, honestly, nothing is really coming to me. And you guys, I am currently editing this video, and oh my goodness, so I recorded this video in the morning and I'm editing right now. It's like 7 p.m. So much has happened today, which I think honestly is so in line with Mercury retrograde themes. And Mercury, of course, is already in Aries. It's been there already for a couple of days. And I think what's very interesting about this energy, and what's kind of also obvious, which I guess I did not mention in the video, but today the events of this day have made it impossible, I guess, for me not to mention and not to edit this part. Of course, something I want to mention here is Mercury in Aries can make us more argumentative. Absolutely. And of course, I kind of did not, it's kind of obvious, but I did not really want to focus on that. But I realized now, after I had this wonderful day that I had, that definitely with Mercury in Aries, we might all be much more easily triggered and get into verbal fights with people. Because it's just there is the vibe like that. And actually for the past few days already, that's been kind of happening, where I just wanted to unnecessarily, somebody would say something stupid, typically, right? It's like if it's not anywhere in your immediate environment, you let it go. But I wanted to go in a whole fight for some reason and just argue and debate. And was in traffic when we were driving, that was something that triggered me, and I was like, I need to say something about this. There was another time, actually, as I was recording the video, there were these two really rude girls who they were like acting so, I don't know, so inappropriately, even though they were seeing that I was recording a video. And there was this energy. And then I got into a fight with some influencer on Instagram. and she was super mean as well. But the fact here is, okay, you know, I can say whatever I want about these people, but the fact that I was participating in all this also fights was also not, and again, these are verbal fights, obviously, but I was like, for a second, you know, I had this moment today when I paused and I was like, what the hell am I doing? Do I have nothing better to do with my time and with my life than go into unnecessary arguments with people? So I guess the moral of the story is, and I think honestly all of this was meant to be for me to experience today, because it is relevant to this transit, and I do think it was the message that I was meant to share as well. And the message essentially is, stay out of unnecessary arguments. Somebody says something stupid to you, whether, you know, you're driving in traffic, or some stupid person on the social media, or some stupid person, I don't know, somewhere in a grocery store. If you unfortunately run into a stupid person, the best thing you can do is to just disconnect from that energy as soon as possible. Don't give it any of your time and attention. Focus instead on things that are truly important to you. And again, we might feel much more inclined to go into debates, to go into arguments. I do not recommend this, to be honest, because yes, you can, but it's going to be a waste of energy. Right now with Mercury in Aries, I think what's far more important is to make sense and to organize certain things in a specific area of our life, depending, right, of course, where Mercury is going retrograde. Like, for example, I noticed that like I skipped 2 days of working out because I was just so busy, like I was traveling, etc. And immediately I started getting into arguments with people. Like, I did not work as much. I kind of like neglected some of work responsibilities for those couple of days. You know, kind of, I guess you could say neglected, because I was supposed to be doing much more than whatever I recorded and whatever I did. And immediately, you know, instead of using that energy of Mercury to fix some things I need to fix right now with work and like go to gym, etc. For me, Mercury is in the 6th house now. I instead went into all of this like freaking raging debates. And again, you can use this energy in whichever way you want to use it, but it will be far more wise to be using this energy instead of going into fights, verbal fights, etc. with other people. Instead of going into this, instead of going into unnecessary arguments, what's far more better is to focus this energy on transforming, improving, managing, making sense of a particular area of your life, whatever Mercury currently is in for you. Avoid unnecessary arguments. I'm going to say it again. Avoid unnecessary arguments. Just simply ask yourself, like, is it worth your attention and time? Because again, sometimes when we get triggered and when we get like provoked, I think even provoked is a better word than triggered, we go into this unnecessary freaking, you know, raging, you know, holy wars to prove some kind of point, to defend something. And I understand there is time and place for something. Sometimes you really do need to do that, but other times you really don't. Like, you know, there was a stupid person I was just got into, why I don't even know, into this whole debate today about, and I'm like, this person clearly will never hear me. We are like on a different frequency, like different level of intelligence, education, ability to speak, read, and understand English looks like too, you know. But like, why did I go for some reason and started trying to prove them something? What was the point of that? And yes, I think this was everything that I experienced today was meant to be experienced. But I think it's a good lesson because, of course, this has been just few days of this Mercury in Aries, and this is a long transit. Mercury will go into Pisces also in a few weeks. But what we don't want to do again is spend this entire transit in arguments, spend the entire month of March debating, arguing with things. Again, ask yourself, is this truly worth your energy and time? Is this worth, like, is it what you're supposed to be doing now? Do you have nothing better to do? Good question to ask yourself right now. So yes, avoid unnecessary arguments. I will say it again. And ask yourself, whenever you are getting provoked or triggered, is there maybe something better you could be doing with your time now? Because that there really, really is better things for you to do right now than getting into unnecessary arguments. You know, if you need to get your point across and it's important truly, yes, you can use this energy to speak about things that are important to you. But going into fights, unnecessary petty arguments especially, it's a waste of time. And yes, sometimes people are rude and stupid, and it is what it is. There is no more elevated way necessarily that you have to be figuring out how to deal with it. Just let it go, focus on something new, focus and align yourself with what you want to be aligned, having more fun, enjoying life, doing things that are important and necessary. investing your energy in things that matter to you, not wasting it on random stupid things, but more like enjoying, appreciating this human experience, enjoying yourself, being playful, being fun, doing things that matter to you, giving your energy to that. Only that's everything else doesn't really matter. So inserting this now. But let's go through 12 signs briefly. Of course, please remember that this is general, and in your individual chart something completely different could be happening that overpowers it, or interpretation would be different, but I will try my best for just general 12 signs to give you some idea of what's going to be happening in your life. Okay, let's start with Aries. Of course, for Aries, this is Mercury retrograde starting in your sign, going back into Pisces, which is your 12th house. So you are looking at yourself, you are looking at your life, you are looking where you are, who you are. In the worst case scenario, there could be a bit of identity crisis for some Aries risings especially. But of course, it doesn't have to be as crazy as that. You might just feel a little bit like, okay, a lot of things are happening right now and you don't necessarily have all the answers. You don't really understand everything, where everything is going. You are not 100% sure, and especially when Mercury re-enters your 12th house, there's a little bit of that feeling being lost, like I don't know what is going on. Like yesterday I was actually meeting a friend of mine. It was like a little girl's day, and on a paper you can see like a lot of things in her life I figured out, like she's happily married, etc, etc, etc. But she's like, you know what, girls, I don't know anything that I'm doing anymore. I'm just trusting the process. And again, we never know what anyone is dealing with in their life. We think that this person has it figured out, that person has it figured out, and sometimes it seems like they are, but a lot of people don't know what they're doing, even when they think they know what they're doing. That's the beautiful kind of, I guess, the beauty of life, right? How they say, if you zoom out of this planet, you see how we're all just this cosmic dust floating around. No one really knows, it's like, even if you think there's like a lot you don't know. There's so many things that are invisible, so to say, could be. It's kind of like, it's a paradox. You know nothing and you know everything at the same time, because there is hidden knowledge, hidden intelligence in every cell of our body. But not to get too philosophical here. Maybe that's how you're going to be feeling. There are days when you feel like you don't know anything, what's going on in your life anymore. And then suddenly there's the spiritual awareness that's come through, and you have this, like, when people have those ayahuasca experiences, etc., and they suddenly see like everything in a different way. I've never done any plant stuff, but I've heard the stories, and I've had actually in my own life as a yogic practitioner and as like Kabbalah practitioner too, like when during some of my Kabbalah experiences or yoga experiences, even like something like suddenly everything clicked, everything is like I was able to see like and connect, and I felt the energy of everything around me. I had these experiences, but I do know, again, it depends really, like, you know what I'm talking about though, right? Like, nothing, but at the same time you are connected to everything at the same time, and you might have some trippy, interesting experiences, Aries. If you go on any spiritual retreat, of course, be careful when traveling with Mercury retrograde. But even if you are like in any kind of spiritual retreat, there might be some interesting experiences there too. Mercury is going to be Cazimi. I forgot to mention this. We'll need to edit this. Mercury is going to be Cazimi on March 24 at 4th degrees of Aries. So there could be the higher spiritual understanding also of what's going on. How, you might see suddenly something that was not available to you before. Like suddenly a new door opens. It's very spiritual. Cazimi points are always very spiritual. And what's Cazimi? It's like when Mercury and the Sun are conjunct fully. You are like, there is the messenger of the king meets with the king, has that session, so to say. They, exchange notes, exchange intelligence, so to say. Beautiful energies. So yeah, again, you could be finding yourself kind of lost during some moments of this retrograde, but then suddenly, like, you have clarity, and then again suddenly lost. So embrace this process, being lost and then finding yourself again and getting lost all over again. That's definitely could be interesting. I know it's how some people could be annoyed with that, but it could be interesting at the same time. So let me know how it goes, Aries. Let's go to Taurus. For Taurus, this is the Mercury retrograde that's happening in between your 12th and 11th house. So it begins in your 12th house in Aries and then goes back into your 11th house. For Taurus, this is a very interesting time because, of course, your ruling planet is retrograde at this approximately same time with this Mercury retrograde as well. For Taurus, I think this is the time to trust the universe, so to say. Embrace the unknown right now. There also could be, actually as a Taurus sun, I'm really resonating with this too. There could be a lot of people who are really fated, who are appearing in your path. It could be from lovers to friends, career opportunities, different connections, acquaintances, different people that just cross your path. Like, it seems like, doesn't mean anything, this connection or this person, and then a stranger on the street tells you something that exactly you needed to hear. It could be interesting experiences, but really this is the time to find balance between maybe like being in your own element, researching things, exploring your spiritual side and creativity, and also connecting with people too. People around you have a lot of answers and maybe could support you in achieving your goals at this moment in time. You can find answers, from unexpected places. You can really deepen your spirituality as well at this moment in time. Actually, again, really resonates. Since Mercury entered Aries, I've been finding newfound appreciation for certain wisdom, for certain spirituality that I haven't had for a while. And it comes through community too. It comes through friends. You are rediscovering. You are also like really fixing certain friendships, or also understanding some friendships could be fixed, some friendships could not be fixed necessarily. Something between spirituality, community, friends, and intersection and conversation happening during this time for you. So let me know how it goes, Taurus. Let's go to Gemini. Okay, for Geminis, this is the Mercury retrograde. Of course, Mercury is your ruling planet, so that's extra important for you. This is the Mercury retrograde that starts in your 11th house and goes back into your 10th house. So this is the time for Geminis to really understand what is it you need in terms of support when it comes to your career, community support, where you stand in terms of also, are you happy with what you're achieving so far? There is a strong conversation here between your community, friends, not necessarily co-workers, but more like audience. Could be just supporters, could be your network circle, social circle, and also your career goals. There could be maybe some changes when it comes to like people who maybe supported you before don't want to support you anymore, people who didn't support you before now want to support you, and it's all ties to your social status, all ties to your career. You need to figure out something in terms of how do you align yourself with the right people at this moment in time in order to achieve your goals. And you could be reconsidering a lot. Again, you are Mercury, technically you're Mercury ruled, so this Mercury retrograde definitely affects you in Virgo more than any other sign. And there's a lot you are trying to understand here, like who is on your side truly, who is not on your side, who can you trust, who can you not trust. So your social status could be affected during this Mercury retrograde, your community connections, your social circle. Be more careful, of course, but there's something beautiful, I think, and something interesting that happens around March 24th when Mercury is going to be cazimi at 4 degrees of Aries, where clarity will come right when you need it. So good luck, Geminis. Let me know how it goes. Let's go to Cancerian. Alright, for Cancerians, this is of course the Mercury retrograde that starts in your 10th house of career, social status, and it goes back into your 9th house of education, immigration, foreign travel, guru, spiritual beliefs, political beliefs. Honestly, in the 9th house could very much be here as well these days. I joke that politics is the new religion of the world, but yeah, it could be definitely a lot going on in those areas. Some of you might be wondering if, again, it's when Mercury retrograde goes like this between two houses, there's a conversation that's happening in the areas where Mercury essentially goes retrograde. In this case for you, of course, it's the 10th house of career and 9th house of education. Maybe even going back to school could be, or again, it's a spiritual beliefs type of situation, guru, travel. So you might be just really trying to understand where the hell you are right now. What are you doing with your life? Maybe going on a little bit of a vacation or travel. Of course, be careful when traveling during Mercury retrograde, but going on a bit of a vacation, maybe even trying to understand what should I do. I actually have quite a few friends, Cancerian risings, and also one of them is Cancerian sun, another is triple Cancerian sun, moon and rising, and a lot of them are kind of going through it right now. And essentially the way they are dealing with everything they're going through is that they're traveling like a lot right now. And I think they have trips scheduled more essentially for this time period. Of course, be also careful with eclipses, because we do have eclipses. But yeah, I think for a lot of you, you are trying to find meaning of life, trying to understand which way to move forward, how to move forward. Again, Jupiter is still in your 12th house. It's not going to be in your first house until June of 2025. So be comfortable, be careful, yes, but be also comfortable in the uncomfortable. You know how they say, find comfort in the discomfort right now. Be okay with not knowing right now. Yes, you have Mars now back in your first house. Yes, it's direct now, things slowly starting to click, but again, there's something here about embracing the discomfort and being ready and open for answers to arrive from the places you maybe didn't even expect. Maybe your worldview will also be shifting and changing a lot, and as a result, what you're doing career-wise, how you position yourself in society will also shift. So let me know how it goes, Cancerian. Let's go to Leos. Alright, for my dear Leos, this is going to be Mercury retrograde that begins in your 9th house of foreign travel, guru, spirituality, religion, education, and then it goes back into your 8th house of shared resources, allies, support of other people, shared resource with other people, money of your spouse, etc. So yeah, there's going to be definitely a lot of conversation between, maybe foreign countries or education, resources you need to pursue higher education perhaps. Should I move somewhere? Will I be getting certain grants, loans, or support in order to move somewhere or study somewhere? Could be a theme for Leos. It could be just a theme of also what you believe in, and do you feel supported by your belief system? Do you feel support within that religion or within that community? Or do you just feel like, whatever it is you're doing is aligned with the deep truth within yourself? Do you feel supported in general? Something, whenever Mercury retrograde is in the 8th house, this is where we are sorting out a lot of things related to shared resource with other people. And again, shared resources, yes, includes money, but it includes much more than just money. Psychological support, deep connection with other individuals, secrets of other people too. Baggage sometimes, of other people. So, if you think about it, when we connect deeply with another individual, like it or not, right, they share our secrets, we share our secrets, we maybe sometimes trauma bond a little bit in the 8th house, you can see that too. But ultimately, in a hopeful scenario, we can transform and we can go to the next level, we can heal, we can bring light into darkness. So you essentially will be going back and forth on like some shared resources with other individuals, how much you give, how much they receive, what they're asking from you, what you're asking from them. And it could be going back and forth. Definitely around March 24th, there could be more clarity in terms of where you stand, where another party stands. And hopefully, even though it's also eclipse season, you can gain greater clarity about what's actually going on. Again, when it comes to support of other people, when it comes to, in general, the doors that are opening up to you or not opening up to you in the world at large. Let me know how it goes, Leos. Of course, let's go to the next sign, Virgo. All right, for Virgos, you are one of the signs, Gemini being the other one, who is especially affected by this Mercury retrograde, of course, because you are Virgo, you are ruled by Mercury. So this Mercury retrograde is going to be starting for you in the 8th house, where we also are about to have the eclipse. And it's going back into your 7th house, where again there's been so much going on there. There's been Venus there. Venus is also retrograde, North Node, Neptune conjunction. All these planets are lined up right now between Pisces and Aries. So yes, this is the time for you to reevaluate your partnership. Who is there for you? Are you receiving a lot from your are you receiving a lot, or are you receiving enough from your partners? Are your needs satisfied? It's definitely for Virgos, there could be even a bit of a revolution when it comes to sensuality, sexuality, and also how you relate to other people. If you feel like you've been going through a dry spell, things could change right now. Also, if you've been in a relationship or in a connection where there's been sexual issues, and maybe as a result of that, obviously, if you have issues with sex, you have issues with your relationship, right? Because different people have different beliefs. I personally don't think that you are in a great marriage or in a great relationship if you cannot fuck each other really good. Excuse my language. I don't know why I wanted to put it this graphic. Or if maybe there's too much emphasis on sex, but not enough emphasis on other things, support, emotional connection, shared goals and values. So yes, reevaluating things related to partnership and your deep connection with your partner, resources that are available. Of course, it could manifest as things like, are you supporting me financially? Are you giving me enough? Or are you just taking from me? Or you're not giving me anything at all? Can we trust each other? Issues with trust could be here very much. How can we make a relationship better? Is it possible to make a relationship better? And again, if you are not in a relationship, of course, still all these themes will apply to you, just in a different way. About, again, physically, are you satisfied? No. Do you feel safe? How you connect with others? Have you disconnected maybe from your sexuality? Maybe you have maybe you don't trust others to even let them in. what kind of partners you are attracting, how can you consciously change the programming. Again, in the beginning I channeled this message that accept what is but focus on what you're creating. I think for you more than anyone also it really resonates and applies to, because there's of course going to be on March 14 as well, right at the time of this eclipse too. There's going to be a lunar eclipse in your sign in Virgo. I have also already posted a video on your sign on the lunar eclipse. Check it out. So yes, themes of partnerships, themes of deep connection will be at the forefront. You will be really figuring it out now. Let me know how it goes, Virgos. Again, do not skip the Venus retrograde video that I made, and also the lunar eclipse, because I dive into more specifically some of those themes there. And again, please remember this is general. If you need your individualized prediction, they are currently available. Links are down below. Anyway, thank you guys. Let's go to Libras. All right, Libras, for you this is the Mercury retrograde that begins in your 7th house of partnerships. It goes back into your 6th house of your day-to-day environment, your job, your debts, health, regimen, everything in your day-to-day physical reality, practical reality, what you do day to day, the work, the service that you do, whether you, again, even if you're not working, if you are just, I don't know, housewife, etc., something that you do day to day. And yes, there's going to be, I think, a reassessment for a lot of Libras in terms of the commitments you have, relationships you have, and how they are working or not working currently with the things you are doing. Again, like how the relationships work, how the current contracts work, how the current, day-to-day setup you have work, finding that balance maybe even between job, work, and your relationship, commitments that you have within your relationship, attention that you need to give to your partner versus also your job, work, self-improvement. Maybe for some of you, you will realize that there is time for you to change relationship dynamics, and you don't want to, like a lot of times, this is actually a coaching advice I've heard one time somewhere from one of the coaches of relationships. He said, instead of chasing after a guy or crying after a guy, go to the gym, right? Like take care of your booty, and you will attract all the guys you want. So again, obviously this is a super simplified way of looking at this, but you know what I mean, right? Sometimes we overly focus on relationship but don't focus enough on ourselves, on our job, on our career, on our physical condition. And here we can find some balance perhaps, or at least try to. Or even perhaps sometimes it's the other way around. You're overly focused job work, but you're not really connecting, relating, or certain relationships in your life are dry somehow. Sometimes, because again 6th 12th from the 7th, when Mercury retrograde like this happens between 6th and 7th house, there could be dissolution of partnerships that are not good enough, that again, because it goes from the 7th into the 6th, which is 12th from the 7th. There could be dissolution of partnerships, agreements that are not good for you, that are not working. Again, these are kind of things that specifically will need to make sense in your chart. But yes, good luck, Libras. And again, you have Venus retrograde in your sign right now. You have a lot going on this month of March. Definitely don't skip your monthly prediction and also Venus retrograde prediction, because they might even resonate even more with you. But let me know how it goes, and let's go to Scorpio. All right, for Scorpios, this is the Mercury retrograde that begins in your 6th house and then it goes into your 5th house. So 6th house is connected to our work, service, day-to-day environment, fitness regimen, health regimen, and 5th house is about fun. It's about children, it's about romantic situations, it is about having fun, expressing ourselves. And again, do not skip the video on Venus retrograde that I also recorded, because Venus retrograde is going retrograde in the same houses, and then a lot of those messages might be relevant. To be honest, I don't even remember what I said in your video over there. But for Mercury retrograde, what I do want to say is that a lot of you are going to be asking yourself a question. If what you do day to day, your routine, your job, work you do, if you're not in job, even if you're self-employed, 6th house still, shows the work you do day to day. You're going to be asking yourself, are you happy, so to say, are you satisfied? Or maybe it's time to change things up with work. Again, the questions of work are big for you. They were big since already, past couple of years when we had eclipses on your 6th 12th house axis. We're going to have Neptune ingressing, of course, into your 6th house the end of this month. We had, what else we had? We have the last eclipse even as well in Aries that's happening in your 6th house. Are you really playing the role or doing the service or the work that you're supposed to be truly doing? Because sometimes we think we are, but we are not really. And there's going to be themes, I think, with work, with you in your day-to-day environment that's going to be pushing you to explore the different reality that's possible. Maybe take a project that you've forgotten about, you always were putting it off your schedule, And now it's like, you know what, I actually want to give this art creative project a chance and see how maybe I can make it my profession instead of whatever I'm doing right now. So yes, themes like this could be very present at this moment in time. You might find yourself even seeing more disturbances somehow when it comes to your work, when it comes to whatever it is you're currently doing. It could be also like desire to have more fun, a desire to perhaps express yourself in a different way. Maybe you find yourself currently in a circumstances where your creativity is not fully welcome at whatever you're doing. Your full self-expression is not fully welcome somehow. Or maybe you also find yourself like it's harder for you to have fun, to enjoy whatever you're doing because of certain restrictions that exist right now within the current work that you're currently doing. Again, there's a lot of things to reconsider, but I think whenever the fifth house especially is activated, we always want to ask ourselves, are we happy where we are we happy with what we are doing, or are there other pathways we have not considered yet that perhaps could be much better? So again, if certain disturbances even come up, if there are certain things maybe are not the way you imagined them to be before, or like you are not happy with something, this is the time for you to really reconsider something. This is the time for you maybe to seek realignment. So let me know how it goes, Scorpios. Let's go to Sagittarius. All right, Sagittarius, welcome back to my channel. Let's go into your video. So the Mercury retrograde does begin for you in the fifth house and goes back into your fourth house. So for you, plain and simple, there is something within children, within home, creative expression, happiness, inner happiness that is concerned right now. You might be like doing a lot. Maybe you're dating somebody else, and because you're dating somebody else, you're reconsidering something about this relationship. This could be affecting your living situation. There's many ways here how it could be playing out, but there's definitely this dialogue, there is this conversation between your fifth house of children, creative self-expression, dating, happiness, and also fourth house of home, family, the place of living. You might be asking yourself, to be truly happy, like, do I stay where I currently live? Do I stay with this person? Do I stay creatively expressing myself the way I'm creatively expressing myself now? Am I happy there? Is this where I want to live? Is this where I want to build a base? A lot of these questions are really coming, to the forefront of this conversation. There's things you are reconsidering for sure. There's different things you want to do. There's different things you want to explore. There might be even, like a lot of busy time right now. And sorry, you guys, I lost my train of thought, but essentially what I was trying to say is that, like, again, this is the time to find alignment when it comes to your heart space. What makes you happy? What makes you more somehow more satisfied even? What makes you feel perhaps, I don't know, even like complete? And are you feeling happy, satisfied, and complete with whatever it is you are doing now, or is there something that needs to switch? So this is a lot of these different themes that you're going to be exploring during this time. Let me know how it goes, and of course, let's go to the next one. Let's go to Capricorn. All right, for Capricorns, this is the Mercury retrograde that begins in your fourth house of home, family, property, and it goes into your third house of neighbors, your environment that surrounds you, people who are around you, social media, things like this. So there are definitely going to be things you are reconsidering, in terms of your home. You could readjust certain things. Maybe for some of you, fourth and third house, whenever they are intercepted with astrology transits, this could be the time where you might move. You might decide that you want to move. Maybe you don't resonate with the same neighborhood anymore. Maybe you don't resonate, like the neighbors are annoying. Very much could be so. Or there's something just in general you want to move around. You want to shift when it comes to your home, when it comes to your family, when it comes to how you are aligning yourself at this moment in time. Mercury retrograde again in the fourth house and the third house could even bring unexpected moving. Like you did not plan it, you did not expect it, and suddenly you're like, you know what, yes, that's what I want to do. Like something happens in your life and you suddenly packing your bags, going somewhere else. Of course, this is an extreme case scenario. It could just be like reshuffling, reshifting something in that area of your life, but it's definitely very possible. Of course, for you, watch the Venus retrograde video, watch eclipses video as well. But yes, I do think that moving or just changing something within where you live, within your environment, is not out of the cards now. So let me know how it goes, Capricorn, and let's go to Aquarius. All right, for Aquarius, this is the Mercury retrograde that begins in your third house of social media, neighbors, siblings, people who surround you day to day, like people in a coffee shop, etc. And it goes back into your second house of money, resources, finances. So for a lot of you, this Mercury retrograde will make you reconsider something maybe about media strategies, branding strategies. There's there's definitely things happening when it comes to your income, streams of income, when it comes to how you communicate with people around you, how you brand maybe even yourself in terms of media, especially the message that you have for the world, how you are thinking. You could be seeing that it's time for you to learn some practical skills. I don't know, could be AI, things like this, right? In order to either add additional streams of income or change and shift something about money, valuable things you have, manage them better somehow. And again, it's like it's Aries, Pisces conversation. Don't skip the intro because this is where I explained a lot about this. There could be moments of clarity and at the same time moments of like, oh, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. We are changing our strategy, we're trying different things, and then we're going back to see what works, what doesn't work. There could be disturbances even around you at this moment in time as well, but I feel like at the end of the day you're gonna find a way how to make everything more wholesome and essentially find more value, find more wholesome way of whatever it is you're currently doing, and find somehow even empowerment through this whole process. So let me know how it goes, Aquarius, and let's go to last but not least, right, to Pisces. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about Pisces. Pisces rising especially. So this is the Mercury retrograde, of course, that occurs for you between your second and your first house. So money, value that you see, value that you have, value that you contribute, and you yourself, how you see yourself. So for a lot of you, a lot of things need to be reconsidered right now when it comes to how you spend money, how you make money, perhaps as well, again, how you see yourself, the talents that you have, what you contribute even to this world. So an important time. And of course, you know, there's Venus retrograde that's happening at the same time. There are eclipses that are happening at the same time. Neptune finishing its journey through Pisces in your sign. So you're going through this massive shift, I think, as a Pisces, especially of reevaluation of what's important to you, who you are, how you see yourself, how you see your talents, how you see what you are contributing even to this world, how you see maybe even what you find valuable. There are certain values you had, you no longer resonate with them. And I think at this moment in time, like there's this shift that's occurring where again, maybe you look back 5 years ago, you were a completely different person. You've grown, you've changed, which is normal, right? Through this time. And what you thought was valuable, what you were willing to give a lot of your energy, time, money to is no longer there. Like there's something else you value now more. So massive shift of values, but also like now you're trying to make sense. How do I manage now that I no longer value maybe going out partying, but I'm much more of a stay-at-home person? How do I manage my time? How do I manage my resources? Of course, I'm giving you kind of silly, like very low-key example here, but it could be about other things. Maybe you used to be perpetually single, now you have a family, and you again manage your resources, time, what you spend money on, how you make money, how you value your time, how you value your money, how you value your resources even as well, how you manage it. Of course, you know, if you're a single person, now you're in a relationship or have family, all this is going to be different, and there's a lot of, you know, a lot that needs to be managed, reorganized, maybe better, more optimally, you know. So yes, themes like this, let me know how it goes. Of course, again, there's Venus retrograde video, there's eclipses videos here as well. I'm about to record Neptune and Aries video too. Probably tomorrow I'll be recording this. I've been putting it off, but yes, let me know, you guys, how it goes. Again, don't be afraid of this time. It could be actually very valuable, very practical time. Yes, it could be, there could be more annoyances, disturbances around us. Even as I'm recording this video, there were like very rude people who just kind of, you know, sat down and started talking loudly, even though they were seeing I was recording something. And yeah, but we are gonna make it through this. Again, Mercury retrograde, I think, like even how I was recording this video today was so fitting, the transit itself. Thank you so much for watching. As always, give this video a big thumbs up, stay classy, you know. Whatever is happening during this Mercury retrograde, just because you don't see a lot of it maybe around you doesn't mean you should stoop to that level. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Give this video a big thumbs up, don't forget to share it, subscribe. We're almost at 100k. I think we should be at 100k sometime in the next few weeks. I love you all. Thank you so much. Happy Mercury retrograde. We'll talk soon. Bye bye.